Okay, I'm here. Damn it. I'm here to answer everyone's burning question about Sentry versus the Dark Phoenix. Oh wait, that's not everyone's burning question, because whenever I went to YouTube, no one had answered it for me. So I was like, I love comics. I'm gonna do some research. I'll take some videos from other people as well. Like put it inside so that I can further indicate that he is the winner. Like I should totally do that, right? I should totally do that. Sentry is fucking awesome. Dark Phoenix, awesome too. Just gonna see who's winning. I'm not saying that Sentry is going to win. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just going to prove that he actually can, because I've been doing a lot of research, and I finally deduced it. He's not going to win instantly, obviously. Not all fights just end in an instant, people. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that it's going to be an easy fight. I'm saying that maybe you all have a different opinion on this. Maybe you all will finally make up a video and finally tell me why I am wrong. But let's begin, shall we? Okay, here are some of his many powers. I know what you're all thinking. Why am I using Wikipedia? I'm going to show you the fandom as well. Maybe that's a better source. And then I'm going to go to fucking YouTube and show him some of his feats, so then you all can really understand that Wikipedia is totally right about what he can do. He has superhuman strength, speed, and stamina. Regenerative healing, a regenerative healing factor, light manipulation, complete invulnerability, psionic powers, flight, enhanced senses, molecular manipulation, matter manipulation, energy absorption and projection, gravity manipulation, immortality, teleportation, telepathy, astral projection, weather manipulation, invisibility, mind and thoughts projection, time bending, and shape shifting. These are all many things that the Void also possesses as well, though the Void is an evil side of Sentry, much like the evil side, of the Dark Phoenix. There's a regular Phoenix, and then there's just the Dark Phoenix. The regular Phoenix isn't a bitch and actually wants to save the universe and actually be a hero. The Dark Phoenix is just a bitch. She's just fucking killing everyone. I'm like, fuck you. Fuck you. Okay, here we are at their weird fandom, or whatever you really want to call it. Okay, and here's powers. As you can see, most of them from Wikipedia have been proven totally right. Skills and abilities and everything. Alright? Now let's go to some YouTube videos. The video that I'm on YouTube is from a channel called Variant. You should go and check them out. They always do comics and stuff. And here's the video that I am using. How powerful is Sentry? I'm liking and subscribing. You all should pretty much do the same, and do the same, and don't forget to click the bell or whatever. Now let's start the video.
Welcome to Variant One Shot. For today's episode, I wanted to talk about a character that has never had his own episode on the channel, and that would be Sentry. More specifically, how powerful he is. He's arguably the most powerful hero in the Marvel Universe, and is constantly being referred to as Marvel's Superman. So let's find out why. Let's start with a brief overview of the character. The Sentry's real name is Robert Reynolds, and he became one of Marvel's strongest heroes when he took an experimental super soldier formula. He's also constantly having to fight his dark side, known as the Void. As far as his powers and abilities go, he's got quite a few, like a whole lot. He has superhuman strength, speed, and telekinesis. He was also shown to have the ability to emit a wave of radiation that could calm the freaking Hulk. In fact, Sentry's most popular fight is probably during the last issue of World War Hulk, where they go at it for multiple pages, and the Sentry is all amped up because he's all like, finally, someone I could let loose on. By the end of their fight, they fought each other to a standstill as they both revert back to their normal human forms. I'd say battling the Hulk to a draw is extremely impressive and proves that Sentry is easily one of the strongest heroes out there. But let's talk about some of his strongest feats to really cement that in, shall we? The Sentry, or the Void, who is essentially just the evil side of Sentry and is best explained as more of a black force that can take the shape of anything, once broke every single bone in the Hulk's body, putting the Hulk down for a few days. Sentry also wrecked shop in Asgard like it was nothing, but what was even more impressive is when Sentry fought the Absorbing Man. Absorbing Man was impressed with just a small amount of Sentry's power, saying he never felt power like that before, and mind you, he's absorbed the Hulk's power, Thor's power, and Odin's magic. And that was only a fraction of Sentry's power. Sentry then stops holding back and says, let's see how you do with the power of 1 million exploding suns. So he grabs Absorbing Man by the neck and melts him atom by atom, dissolving him into photons and neutrons and solar wind, as the caption details. That's just insane. Speaking of insane, it's one thing to have the power of 1 million exploding suns, but it's something else entirely to have that much power on top of being able to resurrect the dead. That's right, as I mentioned earlier, he could bring people back to life. When Ultron brutally killed Sentry's wife, Lindy Lee, Sentry just resurrected her with a single touch, and she had no idea what had even happened. Talk about having godlike power. Then there's also the time Sentry casually offered to sink the island he and the Avengers were fighting on, so Magneto wouldn't get away. Casually telling Captain America and the Avengers, I could just sink the island if you want. No biggie, just say the word. Moving along, we have the time Sentry stopped She-Hulk from throwing a punch, and then just throws her out of the city with very little effort. Sentry also easily overpowered Thor and punched him through several buildings on an alien planet. He followed that up by throwing him into green gamma lava, and then held him up in the air by his freaking neck. Sentry has also regenerated from a bare skeleton back to normal in just a few moments. But even more impressive is that he stated while fighting Thor that he could regenerate from a single atom. I mean, we know he's immortal, but that's just craziness. Then we have the time Molecule Man destroyed Sentry by ripping him apart, but Sentry just reformed and took control of him. Molecule Man even said, "How are you doing this to me? I control the molecules, I do." Sentry then forced Molecule Man to put everything back together that he messed up, and then tells him to go away by ripping him apart. What goes around, comes around. I could go on and on with examples of Sentry's incredible strength, speed, matter manipulation, and so on, but I'm just gonna end with the time he ripped Ares, the son of Zeus, and the Olympian god of war, in half with his bare hands. Come on, do I have to say more? Just look at this panel. He just ripped him in half. Look how nasty that looks with all the blood and guts everywhere. That's just straight savage. But with that said, I think you now have a good idea of just how powerful of a hero Sentry is, and why he's arguably the most powerful hero in the Marvel Universe.
Well, now, that is just awesome, isn't it? He seems unbeatable, right? He seems like the best hero that you would always want on your team, just an incredible all-around guy. He isn't evil a lot, to be honest. Like, his evil side doesn't usually take over him and just kill a million people. He's more of a good guy, in a sense. Hell, even whenever his evil side is around. Now, let's talk about the Dark Phoenix. Okay, so I went to the fandom first, because I couldn't really find one called the Dark Phoenix for, like, Wikipedia or whatever. I only found, like, literally, like, the Phoenix Force instead of the Dark Phoenix or whatever, so it's just a bunch of bullshit, but here are the Dark Phoenix's, you know, powers or whatever on Wikipedia. Powers are known powers. Summers use telepathy, telekinesis on a much higher level. It's a molecular structure of matter. She has supersonic speeds using blah 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 blah. She has hyperspace and destroyed. I don't know how to say that word. Battle cruisers with little effort. Known abilities because the Phoenix is linked to Psyche. She has maintained a psychic link with Cyclops. Jean Grey Summers possessed blah 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 normal strength of human age, height, blah blah blah, using her cosmic powers and telekinesis to, you know, a known amount of range of thousands of tons. Alright, we're done with that. Okay, now we're over here at the Phoenix Force, because I already tried looking up, you know, like, the Dark Phoenix or whatever. That shit didn't work. So, alright. Powers and abilities, vast abilities to manipulate matter and energy, powerful psionic abilities, telepathy, telekinesis, life force manipulation, cosmic awareness, and presence. And, I had to skip down to the power scaling. Oh, man. Oh, man, I forgot about another thing, but it's alright. I'll tell you after this one. Now, the Phoenix Force can manipulate cosmic energies and tap into the life force reserved for future generations, thus denying them existence. It can wield this energy to project beams of immense destructive force. It can migrate throughout time and space by folding its energy back into itself, causing it to collapse, akin to a black hole, and then reform itself upon reaching its destination. It can directly absorb energy such as Cyclops' optic blasts, or absorb energy and life force from a foe, as it is the nexus of all psionic energy. It has mental abilities of cosmic scope, including telepathy and telekinesis. The extent of the Phoenix Force's abilities has not been fully clarified. Jean Grey, as the White Phoenix of the Crown, was able to change the future of the universe by reaching back in time and pushing her husband Cyclops to move on with his life. Another major display of power of the Phoenix was during the Secret Wars 2, when the nearly omnipotent Beyonder wanted to destroy all life. Rachel Summers was the avatar of the Phoenix Force at that time, and sought to kill the Beyonder. The Beyonder expressed both amazement and disappointment to Rachel, claiming that she denies herself her own glory, when she can be so much more with that. The Beyonder gave Rachel all access of the power of the Phoenix, as well as some of his own. With such power, Rachel was able to absorb the consciousness of every sentient mortal being in the universe. And when expelling the sum total of the power back to the Beyonder, the input felt overwhelming, even to his Sentry. Oh my god, that's a lot of reading. The Phoenix officer seeks hosts, blah blah blah, abilities, blah blah blah, fragment of power. Does she actually fight anyone major? Huh. Killed him. This is she can make up portals or something. I don't know. Really, this is actually kind of getting a bit boring. I have all these tabs open, but I should really go back to this one. I forgot to show you some more feats that Sentry actually has. Let me read you some from Super Soldier Serum or whatever. He is stronger than the original used on Captain America. He's stronger than Captain America. I mean, obviously. And was modified by Weapon X, blah, 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 blah. See, although exact abilities of their limits, blah, blah, blah. Powers by lifting helicarrier? I don't know. Distance of the assistance from Miss Marvel and Wonder Man. Preventing the Celestial Exeter from crushing the Earth by lifting his foot with the help of the empowered Rogue. Although later carrying it alone. It must be really big or something. I don't really know. Also seen effortlessly soaring with Thor, setting him flying with punches, producing shockwaves felt around the planet. Also seen manhandling Thor, flying out of space with so much speed that he bends time and space. And also injuring the manhandling Thor under those effortless speeds. He disassembled Carnage. He disassembled Carnage with no efforts. He is considered by the mutant Emma Frost to be one of the best telepaths on Earth 616. He somehow resists to Rogue's mutate touch. Oh my god, that is actually awesome. That means that fucking Rogue touched him, she can't get any of his fucking powers. That is awesome. He also effortlessly defeating and breaking the handle of the axe of Tarax. I don't really know what that is. A herald of Galaxis shown as powerful enough to slice planets in half, several pummeling and nearly tearing apart the female Ultron. Severely pummeling and nearly tearing apart the female Ultron, and easily shattering shields of Doctor Doom. All this shit. Oh my god, this is fucking awesome. He beats Batman up. He's obviously beating fucking Absorbing Man, Hulk, fucking Spider-Woman. Oh my god, like he's defeating everyone. You all want to tell me about fucking Dark Phoenix? Oh my god. Okay. Let's just get down to who's gonna win. Actually, I forgot to show you all this video about some of the Dark Phoenix's feats. I'm having this video. I'm choosing this video from YouTube from this channel called New Saga. You all should check it out or whatever. You know, give it a like, give it a subscribe. Damn it. Give it a like, give it a subscribe. You know, don't forget to press that bell button or whatever. All right.
Day. In this video, I'm going to be covering Phoenix, in particular, Jean Grey. Now, the Phoenix Force made its first appearance in X-Men issue number 101 in October of 1976. But for the sake of this video, we're going to cover Jean Grey, who made her first appearance in X-Men issue number 1 in September of 1963. Now, her complete name is Jean Grey Summers, and she stands 5 feet 6 inches tall, weighs 110 pounds, and has green eyes and red hair. She's an extremely powerful telepath with unlimited potential that originally went by the name Marvel Girl. But after making contact with the Phoenix Force, her powers were amplified in addition to unlocking her unlimited potential. By just about every standard, the Phoenix Force and Jean Grey are bound as one entity. This cosmic energy at one point even telling Charles Xavier that Jean Grey is its one true avatar. Despite this, the Phoenix Force has possessed multiple other avatars as well. Some of these include the Phoenix Five, which were Namor, Cyclops, Emma Frost, Magic, and Colossus. And there were even others, like Rachel Summers, Madeline Pryor, the Stepford Cuckoos, Thanos' son named Thane, and its very first known human host, who was simply known as Lady Phoenix of 1 million BC. All of this being said, there were only two to have ever unlocked the complete full potential of the Phoenix Force. These, of course, being Jean Grey, in addition to Hope Summers, which both achieved the strongest power level, which was known as the White Phoenix of the Crown. In this form, it could be argued that Phoenix is the most powerful being in the Marvel Universe. But of course, that's up to interpretation. Now, Phoenix's power set is astounding. She possesses the unlimited power to create and destroy anything and everything she wants. Her strength, speed, durability, energy projection, and intelligence are completely off the charts. Basically, she possesses limitless cosmic energy, and for all intents and purposes, she's omnipotent. She can control life or death, absorb any type of energy, manipulate all forms of matter and time. She's functionally immortal because if she is injured in some way, shape, or form, the Phoenix Force always resurrects her, and she's shown to be able to warp reality, one time as the White Phoenix of the Crown holding the universe in the palm of her hands. Now, I won't go any farther because you basically get the picture. Now, the backstory of this uniquely special host named Jean is that when she was 10 years old, her best friend, named Amy Richardson, was hit by a vehicle. The despair that Jean felt while she was holding her friend in her arm activated her mutant telepathic powers. This caused her to share Annie's emotions as she died. Naturally, this traumatized Jean, and she suffered from deep depression and was unable to fully control her new telepathic powers. When she was 11, her parents turned to Professor Charles Xavier for help. This is when Xavier decided to make psychic barriers in Jean's mind to prevent her from using her powers until she was mature enough to control them. He also started training her in the use of her telekinetic abilities, gradually helping her to hone her mental manipulation of objects. When she was a teenager, Jean decided to enroll in Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters, and she became the 5th member of the original X-Men. This is when she took on the name Marvel Girl and ended up falling in love with her fellow student Scott Summers, also known as Cyclops. Although they initially had a funny off-and-on type of relationship, this is how she and Wolverine later developed a strong attraction towards one another. One fateful day, she and some other X-Men were abducted by Sentinels to a space station that was orbiting the Earth. They managed to escape back to Earth in a space shuttle, but it was during a solar radiation storm. Jean volunteered to pilot the shuttle, but she had to sit in a section that didn't have sufficient radiation shielding. She gave a good effort, but at that point her powers weren't enough to hold back the intense radiation, and it started to kill her. This is when the Phoenix Force, a sentient cosmic entity of limitless power, made contact with her. It made a human host body for itself that was an exact copy of Jean's, and endowed it with a portion of her consciousness. The Phoenix Force then put Jean's original body into suspended animation in a large cocoon, in which it could slowly heal. After the spaceship crash-landed in Jamaica Bay, the Phoenix Force's new host body rose from the water, and it declared itself to be Phoenix. The X-Men assumed that Phoenix was the real Jean Grey, and was thus part of the team. After some time, the X-Men's old enemy named Mastermind began manipulating Phoenix's brain to prove his worthiness to join the inner circle of the Hellfire Club. This tampering ended up awakening the dark side of her personality. Mastermind brainwashed her into becoming the new Black Queen of the Hellfire Club, but he couldn't control her massive power for very long. Phoenix not only turned against him, she completely changed into the insane Dark Phoenix. In this state, she was nearly unstoppable, completely operating on primal desires and rage. She ended up battling against the X-Men and inadvertently destroyed an inhabited planet. Luckily, Jean's original personality reasserted itself, and to keep herself from reverting back to Dark Phoenix, she committed suicide as the horrified Cyclops looked on. During the death of this new Phoenix body, Jean's consciousness returned to her original body that was still at the bottom of Jamaica Bay. After some time, the Avengers actually found and revived her. She then discovered that Cyclops had married her clone, named Madeline Pryor, and they had a son named Nathan, aka Cable. Despite this, she went on to join the original X-Men anyway, and then went to be a founding member of X-Factor. Madeline ended up going crazy and developed powers as the Goblin Queen, and she ultimately died in battle with Jean. Jean and Cyclops eventually reunited and married, and during their honeymoon, their souls were actually taken into the future as Red and Slim, where they then raised Nathan for 10 years before coming back home. Later, Jean completely assumed the name of Phoenix, and tightly linked herself with the Phoenix Force. She and Cyclops gradually drifted apart, and she learned that Scott was having an affair with Emma Frost. Subsequent to this, the first Zorn that was pretending to be Magneto killed her, but of course the Phoenix Force resurrected her again. She then became the White Phoenix of the Crown while in a pocket dimension called the White Hot Room. But considering the Phoenix a universal threat, the Shi'ar forced her from the room by hitting it with an event horizon of a black hole. Jean then set out to gather the fractured pieces of the Phoenix Force, and then set her sights on actually healing the universe. Now, due to her powers and abilities and her influence on the Marvel Universe, for my 1 to 10 rating, I'll give Phoenix Jean Grey a rating of 10, which is a legendary rating.
Okay, well, let's get down to business. That was a lot, and I gotta say, she's not obviously weak. She's not obviously weak or anything like that. I'm not saying that. Let's just, just point out how Sentry would win, all that shit. Okay. As he said, he can regenerate from a single fucking molecule and from his fucking skeleton. So, he's obviously good with the fucking healing factor. So, if she tries to erase him, well, there you go. He also can teleport and stuff, and, well, if you all weren't really listening, he has an astral projection of himself. Meaning that it's like a decoy. He can also shapeshift, meaning that you can also just put another decoy. But, the point is, he has a lot of feats that could, really rattle her brain around. Also, light manipulation. I know that's kind of a stupid thing to say right now, but I'm just saying, she could blind her like a solar flare from fucking Dragon Ball Z. The point is, there's a lot of things of how he could also obviously win. He's not going to instantly win, of course. It's going to be a world-shattering, universe-rattling, time-warping type of fucking battle where everyone will be feeling the shit. Everyone will be feeling their one fight. Everyone is going to be feeling it. But he has the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns and all those other feats. Now, as in the video, it said, even if Sentry were to somehow to kill her anyway, even if he somehow had the ability to kill her, it still wouldn't really matter. The Dark Phoenix or whatever would just bring her back to fucking life. Which is why I'd also said this. Maybe there could be a way for, him just to kill the fucking Phoenix. Maybe you all are saying that it's a ghost or some sort of force, and also you all wouldn't have even fucking believed what I typed in before. Okay, so I went here, so I'm going over here. Okay. And what did I type in? Just wait. I typed in, can you kill the Phoenix Force? But then it said this, immortality, blah, 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 indestructible, blah, 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 cannot die. Now, then I want to show you all this. Take a look at this. Take a gander. Take a gander, look. Okay, look at this. So this is Thor. He's in space. There's the ugly-ass Phoenix. He throws his hammer. It hits the Phoenix. It actually affects the Phoenix. What you're not understanding is that one of Sentry's many powers is, matter manipulation. Obviously, that's fucking the Dark Phoenix's power too, but what I'm saying is here, if Thor can hit it, and if lightning and shit can affect it, it obviously isn't dead. But what I'm saying here is if it can be affected by something, then it's obviously real. It's obviously matter. It's not just something that's invisible. It's not some ghost. It is real, meaning that it could be erased. That's the point of everything. Think about fucking Thanos' snap. One snap, and fucking the Dark Phoenix is fucking dead. People don't get this sometimes. People don't get what the snap does. People just don't get it, okay? They don't get how powerful this shit can be sometimes. She's not weak. Like I said, this fight wouldn't have been over instantly. Maybe he would have erased her a couple of times. Maybe she would have erased him a couple of times. But each and every time, they would keep on coming back and back and back. But the point is, sooner or later, he was probably finally going to realize that the Phoenix was constantly bringing her back to life. And he knew that the only way to defeat her would be to erase the Phoenix. After the Phoenix is dead, I'm not saying that he's going to kill Jean Grey. He's obviously freeing her from this evil fucking entity trying to fucking kill her. But I fucking hate the Dark Phoenix. But you know what I suck? You know what sucks? No one has ever made up a comic where she fights Thanos or anything. Or maybe they have. Maybe I need to do a lot more research. But they have also never made up a comic where fucking Thanos fights where Sentry fights Thanos either. This would be a fight to see, man. Their fucking powers are incredible. And I'm definitely not talking about a Thanos with the gauntlet, but you gotta admit, Thanos doesn't instantly kill his foes unless they're almost about to kill him, they're just being a bunch of pesky pests. In the comics, he likes to toy with people. He doesn't just want to instantly end this fight. He's evil. He's not just a fucking guy who's me, erase the universe, me. The point of him is to be evil, not just to be a little pussy. But to be honest, I gotta say, whenever they fight, if Thanos had the Space Stone and the Power Stone, or Gem, or whatever the fuck it's called, Sentry still wins. But with the Time Stone, he can lose, he can turn back time, make Sentry old or something. It's kind of the stuff like that, The other stones are just too powerful, and they have weird powers, which would make it hard for, Thanos to... which would make it hard for Sentry to kill Thanos. But I just told you how he defeats, the Dark Phoenix. He destroys the Dark Phoenix, and since the Dark Phoenix is matter itself on the molecular level to atoms and shit like that shit, okay? So it's obviously real, so he can obviously erase it. He erased fucking Molecule Man. He has the greatest fucking healing ability. Even if she tries to erase him, he's coming back. If he tries to erase her, she's coming back unless he kills the Dark Phoenix. So that's it. The Phoenix Force or whatever. I'm not saying that it could instantly, it's dead forever. Maybe the Phoenix Force was in someone else's body also. There was a fucking there were 5 people who had the Phoenix Force. Maybe they were all in, maybe the Phoenix was in individual bodies. I don't know, but the point is he wins in this fight, okay? And if you want to prove me wrong, try me. Alright, that's it.